Whiskey bourbon has a storied history, but the first chapters are likely missing some of bourbon's most influential characters. WHS 11's John Charlton tries to piece together the puzzle of Black history in bourbon history.
History in the making. The spirit of America. Born in oak barrels not long after independence, and soon to become a whiskey for the ages. Many had a hand in making bourbon what it is today, even though most of America's archives are not necessarily fully inclusive. Bourbon historian Mike Veach has witnessed that for himself.
Pretty much an unplumbed area of history.
Specifically, Black history in bourbon history.
It supplied a lot of jobs all through its history.
Of course, slaves couldn't choose where they worked, and some worked at distilleries. Veach says he found a distiller's ledger at the Filson Historical Society in Louisville.
From the 1840s, and it talks about renting out slaves, but it doesn't mention their names, doesn't mention what they were being rented out for, or anything, you know. So you just have to assume that they were probably being rented out to one of the neighbors to help make whiskey.
Although their historical contributions are not well documented, Veach says there is evidence that certain slaves may have done more than just the heavy lifting.
From one of the newspapers at that time, where Andrew Jackson had a slave that ran away in Tennessee, and he was advertising in Louisville to find this slave. And one of the things that he mentioned is that this slave was really good distilling.
Unlikely any slave master would ever give his slave the title master distiller. However, another black man in Tennessee,
Nearest Green,
basically was.
Who taught Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey, you know, as a slave.
After slavery, Nearest Green and then his son stuck with Jack Daniels. Their descendants even remain to this day. From Prohibition to today's bourbon craze, generations have passed, and a new generation
continue to make bourbon history.
Is distilling in West Louisville, a family business.
This is a craft distillery.
Of three brothers, Chris, the marketer.
It's definitely unique.
Victor, the CEO.
So we've been at it for 8-9 years.
And Bryson, the distiller.
We are the first African-American distillery in Kentucky.
They are the Arbros behind Bro Brothers Bourbon.
Kentucky is the bourbon capital of the world, but I never thought that Bro Brothers would be having our own bourbon and producing our own bourbon.
Established in Park Hill, it's a small batch operation for now and is expected to only get better with age. But as they've said, Bro Brothers.
We are on record for being Kentucky's first black owned distillery.
Has already made its mark on bourbon history, which is, unlike in the past, finally well documented.
African Americans always contributed, whether or not that's been acknowledged. And I think this key movement to make that acknowledgement known. And I think this is where we are now. We can help push that narrative forward and that understanding of the history forward with Bro Brothers as well being living history.
Making history. And history in the making. African Americans no longer hidden figures in bourbon's future. John Charlton, WHS 11, on your side.